Shaboom, shaboom. Dee-yada, 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 shaboom, shaboom. Dee-yada, 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 shaboom, shaboom. Dee-yada, 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 shaboom. You see, that is just, we want candor. We want candor. It's a very simple structure. You could use it as a turnaround. It's used 1,000,000 times as turnarounds in song. You play the tune, you come to the end of the song, you go, and you're back to the song, whatever the song may be. Use it as what they call a turnaround. That's a little thing where those 2 bars come at the end of an 8-bar phrase. 2 bars, and you don't want to just sit there on C, or you don't want to just sit there on C and then go to G. You go. And what that is still 1 and 5. You've got C, and you put the 6 in it. It looks like an A minor chord, so people will call it an A minor chord. They'll say, you're playing C, A minor, you're playing D minor 7 to G7, or they'll say you're playing C, A minor, F to G7. That's what they'll say. But what you're doing is taking this C and adding the 6, the A in it, the tone color in it. That's all you're doing. And that comes out to be an A minor chord, because we know the notes of an A minor chord are the notes of a C scale on the C. So you add the A. Now, they call this a D minor 7 chord to G. But way back when I first started this stuff, I pointed out to you that the D minor 7 chord is merely a suspension of the G7. You hear the C going to the B, the 4 to the 3 in the chord. You can hold that A in there because the A is the 9th of a G7 chord. So it's just really that suspension. So all you really got is C and G7. But you alter it by going C, adding A to the tone color, suspension to the G. Now, they made up 1,000,000 songs that do that. There's a zillion tunes that go. All right? Blue moon, I saw you standing alone, without a dream in my heart. You got 1,000,000 tunes that do that. I just did Shaboom before that. You can do it. Sincerely, don't you know how I love you? They go on and on forever and ever, ever. They're in every period of every whatever. That chord sequence is one chord sequence you have to put in your mind, because that is a chord sequence that will be done over and over and over again. Django's got the tune called Daphne, and it goes. Now it goes C, C7, F, F sharp diminish, C, blah, 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 blah. Right? And it repeats that. Goes up a half step. Does the same thing. You're in D flat now. And it keeps going. And then it comes out to D flat, and then it goes down to D minor, to G7, and back to C, A minor, D minor, C7, C7, F, F sharp diminished. So you see how he uses chromatics to make things work. That's what I was showing you the other thing about the chromatics that do these different stuff. But in that case, he just uses that same pattern. And then he took it up a half step. He could have gone up another half step. He could have kept that up all day. But you see, so what you need to learn is how those things can move for you and how you can put them in different situations so they work. There's another chord sequence that kind of lost out along the way. They don't use it that much anymore, particularly. Now, that one is the one of Basin Street Blues. Basin Street is the street, ba-da-da-da-da-da, New Orleans, the land of dreams. Right? So, but it also is 5 foot 2, eyes are blue, but oh, what those 5 foot could do is anybody see my gal? It's please don't talk about me when I'm gone. It's a cycle. It starts on C, and then it goes to your E7, which is your third in the cycle, and that goes to A7. That's E7 to A7 to D7 to G7 to C. It's your cycle of chords. So there's a million of them. Now, the last little tune that I remember getting written on that very much was a tune that was popular back in the, I guess, 50s, early, late, mid-50s. And it was a good little tune, but it got lost out because it was left over in that style. And it was popular, and it was called... and they called it Mobile. Where's that? Alabama. They took a swallow of his nest. I guess they figured he knew best, and they built the town around him by the name of Mobile. Now he goes to a cycle. He goes to the D, that cycle of the pretty soon. The town had grown, G7, till I had a slide trombone, G7 to C7, and who played piano, F7, and a swallow who sang soprano. Takes you back to B flat. Unless you're wondering where you should go. It's on the Gulf of Mexico, where the southern bells are ringing and the climate's ideal. Why, it's the honeysuckle heaven by the name of Mobile. So that's another cycle that is sort of passé now, but it's a cycle going from your, I was in B flat there, so it's B flat to D7 to G7 around. If you're in C, it's up C to E to A7 around, and the cycle. So that's building your cycle of fifths.